And young men, you know what it's like. You've been there before probably, and you're probably feeling it right now. You want things to be easy for you. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting things to be easier, but you have to identify doing the things wrong repeatedly against the good, sound logic of something that has worked in the past. Don't risk too much. Don't trade more than one contract. Because these funded accounts, I'm going to say this, and I don't need to have any more details to know this is what this is. They exist to fleece you. They already know the statistical probabilities are you're going to fail. You're going to fail because you're going to be impulsive. You will not use sound logic with risk management. You're going to trade more contracts, and that's why they dangle that carrot there. You can trade up to contracts. They didn't say trade with 15 contracts. They just said, hey, you can. And he tried. Not once, not twice, not 5 times, 6 times. Burn, 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 over and over and over again, thinking that that was going to be the answer. Not realizing that that threshold that is so small. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment, okay? I know some of you trading funded companies are listening to me and you follow me. Just hear me out. I'm not spitting in your face or saying what you're doing isn't helping some, because some of my students are actually doing well. But this discussion here tonight is meant to just really place the emphasis on doing the right things as a trader that would use these types of companies. Number one, the risk is too tight. And I know how to trade. If you're saying that you have no chance of succeeding if you only lose, dollars, that ends it. That completely ends it. We're not even talking about 10%. I don't know what the actual figure is because I just don't know. But I know it's not 10%. 10% would be reasonable to say, yeah, you this is no good. You've messed up here. 10%, that you should be able to do better than 10%, not go to 10% drop. None of them are doing that. When I'm trading, if I take a trade that I feel is worthy of a high risk percentage behind it, I can work with 5%. Now, I believe that would fail these funded account challenges if you were to use that and you take a loss at the full 5%. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that would fall underneath the umbrella of most, if not all of them. And you failed. In my eyes as a trader, that's nonsense, because that one trade, that one period of drawdown of 5%, that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're pushing real hard. And I'm not suggesting that anyone should go into these companies or these combines and push real hard. That's the very thing you should not be doing. But my son, he felt that pressure. And the words were, it feels like I'm trapped in this small room and I can't move around. Well, that would be true if you're trading with 15 contracts. It would be true if you're trading with 10 contracts. It's true if you're trading with 8, 7, 5, and you don't know what you're doing. The model was one contract. I don't care what these companies say you can trade as many as. That is the hook. That's the thing that you're going to reach to when you do the one trade that wasn't really all that heavily leveraged. And you want to fix it real quick. Well, all I got to do is go in there and do 5 contracts. And I can get it back real quick. They know that you're going to do that. And it's advantageous for them to see you fail because you'll pay $99 6 and 7 different times. And then expect to get you right around that next new month. You got to pay the dues. And the whole time you're seeing all that stuff add up. Is it helping you get more patient? No. It's revving you up to do what? Think impulsively even more. The words were, I gotta get this before they ask for more money. But you're feeding them every day. Reset, reset, reset. Not doing what you're supposed to be doing everything outside of the rules. Not just theirs, mine. This might sound like something that you've put yourself through. And you should be encouraged to know that even my children, this is what they're going through. It's a character flaw. It's something inside of you. And these funders, you can't trade with a lot of contracts if you don't know what you're doing and expect to be successful. And I'm just going to put it out there and just say it just like that. So there's no real advantage. There's no real advantage to do a $150,000 account when you can do profitable trading with the 50. He doesn't like the idea of doing that. No. I'm going to do it this way. All right, whatever. Show me. I already know how this is going to end. But show me. Daily. He builds the house. He's the builder. He's the architect. He's doing what he wants to do. And boom, burns it down. And because it's so cheap, $99. All you gotta do, $99. And it's all gone. You get beauty for your ashes. It doesn't hurt anymore. Everything I did wrong doesn't exist anymore. It's swept under the rug. It only cost me less than $100. Doing the same thing over and over again. When, by simply doing one contract, following the model, taking that piece of flesh from the market movement and stopping. You can't break any rules. He did, what's today, Friday? Thursday, he had a trade on after 4 o'clock. And apparently there's a rule that they say you can't trade after 4 o'clock. Like you got to close your trades at 4 o'clock. And he did well. And went to target, sat through something, and went right to his target, and then found out that didn't matter. He had to do a reset because he broke a rule about time. Listen, folks, trading in itself, okay? Trading in itself is very, very difficult to learn in the beginning. And for you all out here that are trying to rush into these funded account challenges, you're increasing the level of difficulty when you don't have a model, you don't trade with real risk management, real risk and trade management. I don't care what size account that you have with any of them. If you just trade with one contract, you'll never break their rules and you'll make money. But greed and impatience. I got to get through step 1. I got to do it. It says I can do it in 5 days. I got to do it. The rule was spend up to 2 weeks. Don't listen to that. It says you can trade 15 contracts. Don't listen to that. What makes this very, very hard for a new trader is the level of drawdown that they permit is stupid. Now, today, because my son was basically looking at me like, this is impossible. Like, it's impossible. So I had to step in, Mr. Possible. I said, listen, let's take a look at what's going on this morning, okay? You've been doing everything wrong. Let's just go back to this piece of paper here, and what does it say to do? All right, with that, I want to do this. All right, we'll do what you want to do as long as it agrees with what's on this paper. Do you agree? Okay. So I guided. I said, now look at this right here. Do you see the chart showing you this? Do you see that news at 8:30 caused this movement, and at 10 o'clock, we're expecting it to run again? It's going to do what? Well, you as my students know that I was looking for 4180 in ES. I wanted to see it how it traded there would tell me how we close the week. So we sat there, we watched it spike up, watched it work through 4177, NASDAQ plummeting, dollar raging higher. I said, now you have a setup. And suddenly, all the planets aligned. Immediately, just underneath 36% of the $9,000 that he's supposed to get before he's quote unquote funded falls into his step 1 phase equity. Now, I don't know how this works because, like I said, I've never had a real interest in it. But apparently they have a rule, or this particular company has a rule, where you can't have more than 40% of the 9,000 made in one day. So I'm assuming if you were to make more money, and I'm saying this facetious because I don't know, but if that's true, like if you make more than 40% of the 9,000 in one day, does that fail you? Does that cause you to break a rule, or they just don't count that and you just got to keep moving? I don't know. But I plan on reading through all the stuff so that way I can sit down with him and hopefully next week he'll do what he's been doing. But today I told him this is what you're looking for, and when you see it, push the button. I'd like to say that was enough to satisfy him. But no. No. In some ways, it felt like that bolstered the willingness to want to do his own way. Like he somehow saw something new. He learned something new from that. And therefore, that piece of paper that has a simple set of rules that he has to follow need not be concerned with. So what is he exhibiting? A character flaw. those of you that learn from me and you don't listen to what I'm telling you to do, follow the bias that I'm outlining, this is where I think the market's going to go. And you're fading that. And then crying, sending emails, posting things on Twitter, complaining to other people in videos about me, when you're doing everything opposite, and then struggling, and then trying to find the blame on me or something outside of yourself. That's nonsense. You have to snap out of it. You have to snap. You can't do those things. Number one, the world isn't going to let you do that. You'll have a rude awakening. You can lie to yourself in your trading, but if you see that person in the mirror, and it's going to hurt when you have to come to grips with, you're burning it down. You're the one holding the gasoline. You're the one that has the lighter in your hand. You're doing it. Each time you're doing that, you're causing that fire that causes more damage, and everything has to be rebuilt all over again from scratch. But it's not just a reset. You're bringing something new each time. Depression, fear, concern of how many more you can afford. All those things you're bringing into that new reset. It's not just $99 anymore, is it? It's really expensive. Really expensive. And each time, it's going to get harder and harder. Because at some point, you're going to start doing the math on how much money you've thrown into resets and how far you're behind. See, when you first start, if you're new, you've never really put any money in the marketplace, the idea seems novel. It's wonderful. Like, hey, wow, this is an opportunity for me to go in here and not really use any of my money. And then suddenly you discover you put a whole lot of your own money into it, one reset at a time. Every new monthly due payment, and you want the maximum. So you want to give them $400 a month while doing nothing right. And you build up a list of resets, each one costing about $100, and not making anything, not even getting to step 2, where you're considered funded. All that money being wasted, all that time being wasted, and all of that scar tissue being created in your subconscious about what it is that you, a trader. And it's interesting. It's almost impossible for you to recognize that what you're doing is wrong. You're telling yourself what you're doing is right. It just has to be done longer, and it'll start working. If you just recalibrated that tenacity, that hoopfa, that moxie, that thing that just says, I don't care, I'm doing this. If you applied that to a model that works with sound logic, you're invincible. You're invincible. Doesn't mean you won't have losing trades. It means even with losing trades, you're not going to deviate. You're going to stick to what works. It's proven to you. The back testing has proven it. I have proven it. I've shown live, this is what it's going to do, and it does it. This is what time it's going to form, and it does. But if you're not going to reach for that logic, and what you're doing is costing you money and resetting and frustration and becoming more and more agitated by not following the rules, imagine what would happen if you started following the rules. If you just simply did what you were told to do. How much easier would it become? At some point, you're going to have a whole pile of ashes, and you'll be sitting there looking at all the things that you've wasted time, energy, and money. And when you really sift through those ashes and honestly see what you've done, you really didn't use what I taught. You really didn't listen to the lectures and the advice about what not to do and what to do. You really didn't do that. Look at that pile of ashes you got. You were doing something. You weren't wasting time studying, right? You were doing something. And the something you were doing wasn't profitable. And that weighs on you subconsciously, and over time, it'll make you toxic. And you'll start being spiteful. Not to yourself. You won't hold yourself accountable, but you'll point the finger at everyone else. Your friends, your family, me, our community, trading in general. Because it hurts too much to identify the fact that you did this to yourself. Nobody guided you incorrectly. You did everything wrong and you made those decisions. Are you in a position to be accountable for that? Where you can say, yep, if I'm being honest, I made those mistakes on my own. Nobody told me to do that. I did it on my own. Because that's what a trader is. It's a person that says, I own my results. Good or bad, I can live with myself because I'm following a model. I have a rule-based idea that I'm going to stick to that allows me to be objective. I'm not going to be swayed by my notions. I'm not going to be swayed by the psychological impact of what other people think I should do and how I should trade. Look at social media. I was gone for today, and I'm seeing people argue about me when I have said nothing. I'm upset with me, and I haven't done anything. Now, I can cause a bunch of chaos, and I don't mind if they're talking about it then, but if I'm not even around, if I'm staying in my own lane, focusing on my family, people, it's not fair that I got to deal with you. I haven't done anything. And if it's not that, it's somebody else out there pretending they created something when they just rebranded something out of my core content. Yeah. That's what the ghost has said. So I'm aware, obviously, that I have students. I'm interviewing them, obviously. I have several more I got coming. I was going to do one today. I had asked the gentleman to let me know if he was going to be available today at 1:00. And obviously my family took precedence and I wasn't able to confirm that. So I'll have to do that next week. But I have 3 of them scheduled next week for a sit down and recording. So I'll stagger them going into the future, releasing them. But they all know that they'll be sitting with me talking. And they've done things like these funded accounts, made money. So what I'm saying here tonight, don't let it discourage you if that's what you're doing or plan on doing. But I think that if you are going to go that way, one contract is all you need to do. If you can't lose $3,000, that's your max loss. And each point or handle in the ES is $50. If you're trading with more than one contract, you are exponentially increasing the rate of impossibility for you to succeed long term. Because you're willing to take on the larger risk because the payouts are better. I can get more money faster. Well, that could happen. That could happen. I'm not saying it can't. But what also could happen is you could be human. You could be a little off on the day. And the market could also behave just a little bit squirrely. Do something just a little bit unexpected and color outside the lines that you thought it was going to stay within. And the day that you chose to do 10 contracts stings and takes a little bit of your backside off. And then you got to correct all that. And it now becomes, oh, I'm further away from the finish line. Now I got to fix this. Whereas if you trade one contract, regardless of what size account funding you have, one contract, that's a lot of wiggle room. If you only lose 3,000 and you're trading with one contract, you can be horrible in your precision. As long as you're right on your draw and liquidity and you're trading in the right time of day, you can still eke out profitability. You don't need precision. But you have to have precision. Like my level of precision, if you're trying to trade 8 contracts or more, and you can only lose 3,000, or you burn it, most of you listening aren't in that skill set. And that's not a knock against you and me saying I'm superior here. I'm saying that the parameters that they're trying to place on yourself, you may not be versed in trading, know yourself well enough, and maybe not even be able to do a precise entry continuously over and over and over again because you haven't done it long enough. You haven't identified when it's not likely to be as precise as you would hope for, which is what I'm trying to teach this year by mentoring you with live data, teaching you how to read the tape. So why would you want to increase the likelihood of burning everything down just to have one good, quick run? I got to step 2 real fast. Well done, you gambled. Well done. There's a lot of people that go to Vegas and they make money. That doesn't mean they were skilled. You want everything that you're doing in this industry, in this endeavor, this pursuit of excellence in trading to be that very focused there. Excellent in excellence. You want to be able to focus on being good at what you're doing, not showing up at the right time and getting lucky. You don't want happenstance. You don't want coincidence to be the common denominator in your success. That's not what you want. But if you're being honest with yourself, that's what you're asking the universe and fate to come into your favor when you're over leveraged, just trying to get through to step 1. That's what I've watched him do. I've watched him push and push and push and just try to get through it real fast. Because it took him longer. He's speeding up more intensity and more fever to do everything backwards still. Because panic has set in. And I just sat with him and reminded him today that there's no reason to feel that way. Think about it. You're going to pay this monthly due to whatever that company is. So why not just give yourself the full month? Does that make you a bad trader? Does it make you less of a trader than someone else? Who cares how long it takes them to do it and what they think that it should take you to do it? Because when you get funded And if you make money and you do whatever those profit splits are, which I don't even know what the profit split, I don't know. But whenever that is, and whatever that payout is you get, are you going to listen to that same person that's telling you what you should do, how you should do it, how fast you should do it? Are you going to let them tell you how to spend it? No. So why are you going to listen to them when they tell you what you should be doing to get through it, a specific time frame or duration or model or approach to doing so? All these things are distractions. They're all ways to keep your eye off of what it is you're trying to do, which is find consistency. Stop burning down things and receive beauty for ashes by doing what you're supposed to do and focusing on that. Not trying to rush it, not trying to add 20 funded accounts. Let's just start with one. Let's just start with one, trading with one contract, giving yourself time. Okay, I know some of you are thinking, wait, Michael, wait, man, wait. Listen, you said one contract, but they're asking for $400 a month. Come on, man. I can't get rich on that. They're in my pocket. They're going to be taking a portion of the profit split on top of that too. It ain't worth it then. It's not. You have to turn these odds around and place them in your favor. You got $3,000. $3,000 drawdown with one contract. That's a lot of wiggle room. That's very forgiving. And to make $400 over the course of a month with one contract is easy. See, you don't know it because you're trading with larger leverage every time you're trying to do these combines to get through it real quick. Because you probably told yourself, all right, I'll break all these rules to get through it. I'll trade with 5 contracts. I'll trade with 8 contracts just to accelerate my way through step 1. But when I get to step 2, I'm going to be a good boy. I'm going to trade with no more than 2 contracts because it would be silly for me to lose step 2 funded by over leveraging. But you're not using that same logic going through the first part of it. Silly, isn't it? And this is really no different than what people do with their live accounts. Before they even send the money to the broker, they're like, I'm going to file all the rules. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And as soon as the account's opened up and you had the first losing trade, oh, well, that went out the window. What you say, the casino never closes? Well, that's exactly what I'm here for. Push it. What's the most contracts I can trade? That's what we're doing. All logic goes out the window when you're using real money. Which is why I tell you, you have to be bored with the results in demo. 6 months. If you just do it for a month, you're not really desensitized. You're not conditioned. You're not initiated. You just dabbled. That's equivalent to anybody else that starts in Forex or trading and they use a demo account. Oh, wow, I could have made money like that. That sounds like a plan. Well, let's go ahead and just put $5,000, $10,000 into an account. I'm probably going to make money. It doesn't work like that, does it? Suddenly, there's a scorecard and it has a dollar sign right in front of it. You don't want to do all the wrong things multiple times and realize over the course of a month, none of the things that you did panned out. None of them resulted in step 2 funded. It's frustrating. You trade with one contract. I don't care who you see live streaming making money. You don't know. if they're resetting accounts. You don't know if they're really trading with a funded account or trading with a practice account. He took trades. He thought he was in the compound account. And turns out it was in a practice account that he didn't ask for. He did a reset early on. And then when he logged back in, it apparently defaulted to a practice account. So he was working with that account, made a little bit increase, and come to realize none of that was even going towards the combine. So you can imagine he was a little torqued up about that. I mean, I did everything I could not to laugh, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, you're going to do silly stuff. Sometimes in the past, I pressed buy when I wanted to do sell. You're going to get disoriented. You're going to do silly stuff. Okay. But imagine doing work thinking you've gained some ground and it was a live account. It was in a demo, that type of thing. Right. So I think he's learning that all the things he's trying to do aren't going to work. And I'm hoping that this coming week, he'll get hammered more and finally just say, that's it. Like, I can't do it this way. I'm only going to do what you said. And I'll be satisfied. I'll be happy. Because I know that will yield him what he needs to build back, improve and repair what he's done to himself, and then replace it with positive reinforcement. And all that little bit of stuff he's done to himself will be just enough to remind him not to do it. Just a little bit of scar tissue, just a little bit. That's healthy